Well, before my head swells up from smacking my head on the table, I figured now would be a good time to make a YouTube video. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the easier method to losing weight. My name is Andrew, and this is Life Hacks. On today's episode of Losing Weight, we're going to talk about 8 things that you're going to do in order to lose weight. These items are meant to be done one at a time, step by step. Make sure you master the first one before going on to the second, and so on. And today, I tried to use as much science as I could. All the science that I found on losing weight, I have linked down into the description. If I decide to give you something that I don't think is scientific and just something that's worked from my personal experience, I will try to let you know during the video. Without further ado, it's time to go on to step number 1. I chose step number 1 because I figured that it was going to be the easiest paired with being the most effective. It's going to be the first thing that you're going to do. You're going to go out and you're going to go buy a weight scale and start tracking your weight. That's right, you're going to head out to your local store and you're going to go buy a weight scale. If you already have one, no worries. I want you to start tracking your weight on a regular basis. The reason why you're going to do this is because there's a scientific study that said that if you start weighing yourself and tracking this regularly, you're more likely to lose weight compared to those who don't. In addition, it's going to get you into the mindset of losing weight and give you a metric and goal to shoot for. Once you've completed buying a weight scale and you start tracking your weight, that is the only time that you can move on to step number 2. Step number 2 is eating when you're hungry, every time you're hungry, but only when you're hungry. By eating only whenever you're hungry, you get to use your body's cues to tell you when you should eat. Your body tells you that you're hungry only when it needs energy, but you should never eat when you're not hungry. Also, here's a big one that a lot of people miss. If you are hungry, you should eat. Don't hold off eating if you are hungry. Here's the thing. If you don't eat when you are hungry, your body's just going to say, okay, I guess I'm not getting any food then. And as a result, your body is going to lower its metabolism and lower your energy levels. But you're eventually going to have to get that food back. So you're going to get hungry in the future, and you're going to be even more hungry than you were the first time, so you're more likely to overeat. So now you've got lower energy levels, and now you're going to overeat on your second meal, and whenever you get really hungry, you're more likely to eat less healthy food. So always eat when you are hungry, but never eat when you're not. Congratulations if you've made it this far. If you've completed number 1 and number 2, you are far along your journey of losing weight. Step number 3 is always take the stairs. Personally, I set a goal that if I'm ever in a hotel or a hospital or any kind of office building or the such, I will always take the stairs if I'm on the 5th floor or less. Not only is taking the stairs a good exercise in and of itself, but it's also just putting me into the mindset of moving around more and being more active. And here's the secret. If you start taking the stairs more and more often, it isn't really just about taking the stairs, but it puts you into a mindset of moving and being a little bit more active in your day-to-day life. I didn't have to go to the gym to go take the stairs. I didn't have to set aside extra time to do that. I'm just incorporating being more active into my day-to-day life activities. Now, I've got a fun fact for you that I bet you didn't know. I just learned this today, and if you did already know this, feel free to leave a comment down below. However, if you were to look up the chemical composition of fat, it's always made out of some number of hydrogen atoms, carbon atoms, and oxygen atoms. When they become metabolized in your body, they separate out into H2O and CO2. H2O is water, CO2 is carbon dioxide. So if you want to get rid of fat, you have to get rid of water and carbon dioxide. It turns out that the ratios actually favor carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the majority of it, H2O is just a small portion of it. So, if you want to get rid of fat, all you have to do is breathe a little bit more. Guess what? If you take the stairs, you're going to increase your heart rate, you're going to increase the rate at which you breathe, and you are literally breathing out fat. The 4th thing we're going to do is we're going to start becoming more aware of the food that we're putting in our body. And all you have to do is just start reading the nutrition labels when you buy groceries. And in about 45 seconds or less, I'm going to tell you exactly what to look for. I promise it's not rocket science. There's 2 parts to a nutrition label. The first part is the nutrition facts. The second part is the ingredients. The ingredients, all you're looking for is ingredients that you can pronounce And generally speaking, the less ingredients, the better. As far as the nutrition facts goes, here's what you're looking for. Unsaturated fats, good. Proteins, good. Carbohydrates, good. Fiber, good. Bad things: saturated fat, trans fat, sugar, and high amounts of salt. In fact, in the 2015 to 2020 nutrition guidelines, it was noted that sugar was one of the leading causes for obesity in the US. Well, congratulations once again. We have made it halfway through the list. You are now on to number 5, and you are well along your way to losing weight. Number 5 on the list is cook from home. Cooking from home is just a personal experience of mine, and I have found that if I cook from home, I generally cook a little bit healthier compared to if I was eating out. In addition, cooking from home, I'm usually moving around the kitchen, and that gets me on my feet and active. In addition to just cooking at home, I've got one more extra mini challenge for you while you cook at home, and all that is just to include one fresh vegetable in every single meal that you cook. Working our way onto step number 6. This is the step that we are going to cut out completely drinking sugar. I know that sounds crazy, but I think it's more reasonable than what you might think. And here's how we're going to do it. What you're going to do is you're going to cut out all of the sodas and all of the fruit juices. Instead of drinking a soda, I challenge you to have a dessert instead. Instead of having a fruit juice, I challenge you to just eat fruit. Now you might be saying, whoa, Andrew, what are you doing recommending eating cake instead of drinking soda? Aren't they both pretty bad? And yes, the answer is eating cake, especially in excess amounts, is going to be bad for you and is going to hurt your goals of losing weight. However, from my experience, if you were to have, say, 50 grams of sugar, which is about the amount in a 12-ounce can of soda, versus a cake that had 50 grams of sugar, it's going to be much more difficult to eat a cake with 50 grams of sugar versus having a soda with 50 grams of sugar. Over the long run, I think that if you were to eat your cake instead of drinking sodas, you'll actually come out up top eating less sugar in the long run. In addition, if you can trade some of those cakes for fruit, you'll get a benefit of having extra nutrients and some fiber. The problem with sugar is twofold, and this is why most of the dietary guidelines are so anti-added sugars. The first problem is that sugar is one of the most efficient energy sources for your body. This can be a good thing if you need energy in the short term. The problem is that if you don't use all the energy given by the sugar that you just ate, it very quickly metabolizes and turns into fat. The second problem is that whenever you eat a lot of sugar, your blood sugar levels rise quite rapidly. And your body doesn't like that because your body tries to have a well balance of everything. So whenever your blood sugar level rises, your body pumps insulin into your blood in order to try to bring that level down. The pancreas is what produces the insulin in your body. And if you overwork your pancreas too much by rapidly increasing your blood sugar levels over a long period of your life, your pancreas can start to malfunction as you get older. And this is what we call diabetes. Step number 7. Reduce your alcohol consumption. And I'm talking about making reasonable goals. Maybe it's drinking one less drink a night, or just drinking one less night a week. Either way, if you can reduce your alcohol consumption, you will end up reducing your overall calorie intake. Alcohol has calories, a lot of calories. In fact, so much so that it actually has more calories per weight than carbohydrates or protein does. For example, carbohydrates and protein have 4 calories per gram. Alcohol has 7 calories per gram. In fact, if you were to have one beer, one glass of wine, or 1 2-ounce shot of liquor, that can easily exceed 100 calories each. Calories are not necessarily the enemy in weight loss. However, having too much calories, especially without any nutritional benefit, which alcohol does not provide, that can be the enemy for weight loss. And finally, congratulations on making it to step number 8. If you have truly followed the first 7 steps, I'm not even sure why you're here at step 8 right now, because you're probably already at the weight that you want to be. However, I've got one more thing for you, and it's one of the most underrated things in weight loss. And that is getting an appropriate amount of sleep per night. It is shown that if you have consistent sleeping patterns, meaning roughly the same amount of sleep per night and at the same times, you will lose more weight compared to somebody who has more irregular sleeping patterns. To give you some help with this, whenever we sleep, we go through about 4 stages of sleeping every 90 minutes. So we sleep in cycles with 90-minute increments, on average. Generally, adults need to have 4 to 6 cycles of sleep every single night. So 4 cycles of sleep would equate to 6 hours, 5 cycles, 7.5 hours, or 6 cycles, 9 hours. I'd recommend finding what your body prefers. For example, my body generally prefers 5 cycles of sleep per night, so I generally sleep for 7.5 hours. Once you've found how many cycles your body prefers to sleep each night, then you can go forth with setting your alarm clock in the morning. I generally try to go to bed at around the same time every night, and what I'll do, since I know that my body prefers right at 7.5 hours of sleep, I'll just set an alarm 7.5 hours from the time that I expect to be asleep. If you have to wake up in the morning at the same time, then I'd recommend changing when you go to bed in order to accommodate getting the amount of cycles per sleep that you need each and every night. Well, that is all I have for today. I hope that I was able to help in some small way, and if I was, please leave me a comment and let me know if I did. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. And thanks for watching. Oh, jeez, my head hurts.